I was asked to look at these trees that have been planted in the backyard. They're Chinese pistache, Pistachia chinensis, and there are 3 of them. The trees no longer have the nursery stakes, which are the ones that they come installed with. There you can see a little bit of it at the back there that was broken off on the ground. But 2 new stakes were put up. The only problem that I can see with these 2 new stakes is that you do have some rubbing going on right here. In the wind, that's going to cause some abrasion. It's not causing any problems yet, but in time that could lead to a problem. Another thing that a lot of people don't talk about when they stake trees is stakes are intended to keep a tree from blowing over in the wind, but they have another negative aspect to it, that they don't allow the tree to move. See, a trunk of a tree is going to develop taper as it moves in the wind, so a lot of the times the strengthening is actually inhibited by the staking. So as this tree is blowing back and forth, it's going to build up some taper and a little bit more rigidity and a stronger root system. So at this time of the year, it doesn't have any leaves. If it was mine, I would remove the stakes and not keep it so rigid and so bound up. They're developing a nice branch work. I wouldn't do anything to this tree, just let it grow. There's a couple little crossovers, but I don't even see those as a problem. This tree over here, once again, got the same exact problem. This cross member right here is rubbing on the tree, and you're going to notice that this thin bark is going to get abraded. Here's where there was some damage from the nursery. You also see that the top of the stake up there is rubbing on a branch. So every time the wind blows, that's causing some damage to that section of the tree. So it's a nice tree. He's got some money invested in this, and he wants to take care of it. This particular structure is a little bit wider spreading, which is fairly normal for a Chinese pistache, but you might have to keep it in check. If it gets too wide, then you have more of a possibility of limbs breaking. Now this final tree right here also has some problems, and once again you can see where that stake is rubbing on part of the structure of the tree. Seems like there's an awful lot of moisture down here as well. See all the moss on the base of the tree down here? I know it's a wet time of the year, but if they have sprinklers going and that stays wet, that moss could lead to some basal crown rot. On a young tree, that could be very, very damaging. So my recommendation, it's time for the stakes to go away. Keep an eye on it. You might want to give it a little bit of a shake after it leafs out and see if you see any movement in the ground. And if there is any movement in the ground, at that point you might want to consider restaking it, but doing it in such a way that it's not going to be damaging the bark or the branches of the tree. Chinese pistache.